Can I make this $300 pedal board sound like $3,000? This is IkeGuitar. Let's dive in. What's going on, guys? IkeGuitar here, and today we're going to be going over our budget pedal board that I made a few videos ago. I'm going to go over this pedal board with you guys from a top-down perspective, and then we'll get into some tone making. So this is the budget pedal board that I made for myself. You'll see some fan favorites from my last video that you may notice on the board itself. First off, we've got this Behringer Super Fuzz. I have that first in my chain because, as you guys know, I use a buffered tuner here. So the Super Fuzz will go before the tuner to keep the buffer from affecting the sound of my fuzz, okay? So the next pedal on my board is, of course, this tuner. We all need one. And I've got that wire going to my boost pedal, which I showed you guys on the channel last time. The tube overdrive is totally dimed out. I like big, gritty TS-808 tone, and that pedal will do it for me. And then I didn't mention this in the video, but I kind of like the sound of vibrato. This is not a requirement for the pedal board that you build yourself, but I thought it was a nice addition. I'm not going to use it all that often, but I had a pedal, so why not slap it on there? And then finally, of course, I've got my Ultra Chorus pedal. This chorus sounds really, really great, really beefs up the tone from my vintage tube overdrive, as well as my boost pedal, and it's going to give me a nice 80s vibe going through my chorus. Now, I'm no master at pedal board wiring, but I wanted to make this pedal board as clean as possible, even though it's a cheaper pedal board. So first off, for my power supply, I'm going to be using the One Spot Pro. This sucker is really, really nice. 7 outputs, everything's isolated. You have to be very careful about getting power supplies because the cheaper ones will not be isolated. So make sure you get an isolated power supply. So this power supply has 7 outputs, but one of those outputs is effectively an 18-volt output. You would only use 18-volt outputs on heavy draw pedals and compressors, kind of like the Timmy or the Cali 76. And since none of my pedals have an 18-volt capability, I'm only going to run the 9-volt options. And as you can see from my wiring here, I'm trying to keep the power wires from touching any of my audio cables. And that's really important, because if you place power supply cables next to audio cables, you can induce some hum. And so you'll notice I have these things tied down. They're all pretty much locked in together. That looks pretty sloppy, but it gets the job done. And of course, none of it's touching. And all of these instrument cables I've got tethered down except for this one. This one is not going to tether down. It's a bit too stubborn. But essentially, I've got all of these locked in so they're not flipping around and moving about when I move my pedal board. I will say, as an aside, I do really like the One Spot Pro. It does do a lot for the money. However, there is some inherent noise in the power supply. There is a 5K kind of whine that you can hear when you power up the supply, which you'll be able to hear in the microphone in the video. But if you're sensitive to high-pitched noise, this One Spot power supply may not be the power supply for you. Alright, y'all, we're going to go through a quick demo on this pedal board. I'm going to be using my Squier Telecaster in silver. That's about $200, but I won't be using a cheap amp. I'm using a 68 Princeton reissue out of my Kemper. And of course, we've got prices on these pedals. We've got $25 for the fuzz, $50 for the boost, $50 for the tuner. We've got $25 for the T0800, and then we've got $25 for the vibrato and $25 for the chorus, totaling you all in pedals alone about $300, including this power supply down here. Now, obviously, it doesn't include cables, or it's going to include the pedal board and Velcro, but typically this will be an extra $50 or so, depending on how cheap you go. Without further ado, let's get started. I'll show you the clean sound first, and then we'll go through each of the pedals in sequence. Now you may notice that I'm actually using a little bit of reverb on that. That'll be a reverb that comes with your amp. You'll notice that I didn't use reverb or delay on my pedal board when I built it. Let's play our fuzz. Alright, that was the fuzz. Not everyone's going to want fuzz in their sound, but it's a nice little addition for so cheap a cost. And now I'm going to play the rest of the board with the boost always on, but first we'll turn the boost on and let you hear how it sounds. turn on this tube overdrive here. I've got this pretty much cranked out, so we go and get nasty. Alright, now we're going to be using our vibrato. The vibrato's not much, but it's a fun little toy. It'll make you sound like Lavender Town from Pokemon. And then, of course, we've got that chorus. We'll add in the overdrive on this chorus once we hear the chorus by itself. Now we'll add in that overdrive. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video on making that pedal board sound really, really good. I think it's done a pretty good job for the amount of money that I poured into it. With a $200 guitar, all you need is a great amp, and that thing's going to sing for you. And of course, if you have any questions or have any suggestions for other pedals to put on that pedal board, let me know in the comments below. And if you liked it, please consider subscribing. I make videos 3 times a week. You don't want to miss it. And don't forget to hit me up at Instagram for all the great stuff you don't see here on the channel.